My name is Lena Whitaker. I'm 25 years old. On April 14th, 2023, my life ended under a Portland sky. And I came back to tell you I met Jesus. In my testimony, you'll walk with me through the moment my heart stopped on a Portland street, the instant my spirit left my body, and the overwhelming encounter I had face to face with Jesus. You'll see the chains he broke, the visions he revealed about our world, and the reason he sent me back. What I saw will shake you, but it will also give you hope. From the outside, I look like the kind of woman who has it all figured out. I taught sunrise yoga at a small studio off Alberta Street, drank herbal tea out of a chipped ceramic mug, took photos of moss-covered logs and moody Oregon skies, and posted them with captions about breath and gratitude. People at the studio called me calming. Cashiers called me sweetheart. Strangers said I had peaceful energy. Inside, I was a knot pulled so tight it sang. I grew up homeschooled in a middle-class outdoorsy family. My mom hummed folk hymns while watering her geraniums and prayed quietly for me when she thought I wasn't listening. My dad was present the way a mountain is present, there, but distant, weathered, hard to climb. We weren't church people, not really. We hovered near faith like you hover near a campfire, close enough to feel warmth, far enough not to be changed by it. I was an only child, shy and eager to please. If you've ever been the quiet one in a room full of louder lives, you know the ache of wanting to be seen without knowing how to ask. As a teenager, I learned to control what I couldn't fix. I counted calories like prayers I didn't believe in. I smiled like a screensaver, pleasant, still hiding everything. In my 20s, I built a persona that worked. Linen pants, playlist with rain sounds, hands that adjusted students' shoulders like I knew secrets about their spines and souls. I did know something. People hurt, and I could soften some of it. I could help them stretch the part of pain that can be stretched. But at night, when Portland's rain slicked the sidewalks and the Macs groaned like a tired animal in the distance, I lay on my futon and scrolled women's bodies on Instagram until my thumb numbed. I compared, I measured. I promised myself tomorrow I'd be better, eat cleaner, be kinder to myself, stop hating mirrors. Then I'd set the phone down, stand in front of my bathroom light, and catalog flaws until tears blurred edges, hip bones, cheeks too round, stomach not flat enough. I whispered apologies to a reflection I couldn't save. I'd had one serious relationship, a man who praised my discipline and called my softness drama. He loved the version of me that never asked for anything. He thumbed through my boundaries like pages. When he left, he took nothing from my apartment and everything from my belief that I deserved gentleness. So I made a deal with myself. Work hard, look calm, don't need. It almost worked. It was early, too early for traffic to be unkind. The maple-lined streets in my northeast neighborhood were still shadowed. Slick leaves fanned across the asphalt like coins. I wore my favorite knit beanie beneath my helmet, fingers numb around the handlebars, yoga mat rolled and strapped behind me like a soft sail. I remember the hush of the morning, the kind of quiet where even crows sound considerate. The cold bit my lungs in clean little sips. A jogger in a reflective vest padded toward me, earbuds in. An elderly neighbor in a navy peacoat shuffled along with his terrier, the dog's nails ticking the sidewalk like knitting needles. The car came out of a side street fast, too fast for a residential block. Maybe the driver was late. Maybe the text looked urgent. Maybe their head bent down just long enough. What I remember is the flash. Sunlight glancing off the hood like a camera bulb, the snap of brakes, rubber screaming against road. The world thinned to sounds, the metallic scream of my bike frame, my own breath turning to glass, the terrier's bark cracking the air. There was the smell of hot metal and asphalt, the way summer pavement smells after rain, but harsher. My back wheel skittered, swiveled under me. The hood met my leg, then my hip. Impact lifted me, and then the street didn't catch me so much as seize me. The sky spun, a carousel of cloud and branch. I heard the jogger gasp, the neighbor shout, "Oh God!" The terrier's leash went taut. As I slid, I thought one sentence clear as winter. I never got to feel whole. And then pain stepped backward like someone turning a dimmer switch. My body went heavy and far away. Sound stretched thin and tore. The street's grit against my cheek disappeared. I rose, slowly, like surfacing in a lake. The world below sharpened, and there I was, a tangle of limbs and matte black bike frame, my beanie half off, hair sprung loose like a dark halo ruined. My right knee bent wrong. My mouth was slightly open like I was trying to remember a word. I could see freckles I never liked and the pale crescent scar on my forearm from a childhood fall. My yoga mat, absurdly ordinary, hung by its strap against the curb as if waiting for class. The jogger's hand shook around a phone as he yelled my cross streets to 911. The neighbor clutched his terrier to his chest, whispering, "It's okay, sweetheart," to a stranger he thought couldn't hear. The driver sat in the car, face paper white, both hands in their hair, mouth forming, no, no, no. And everything sounded wrong. The city's hum turned cavernous, like I was underwater. The distant Max horn was a whale song. The refrigerator hum of the corner market behind me swelled to a roar and then receded, and colors looked oversaturated. The red of a taillight, the neon orange of a traffic cone on a porch, the emerald battery life of a pedestrian crossing sign. Horror came in a clean wave. That's me. I'm dead. One part of me reached down with panic-like hands, and another part simply watched with a strange, unarguable calm. Then a current, gentle, undeniable, took hold as if the air itself beckoned. I didn't move so much as I was moved. The maple canopy blurred, sky brightened. I rose through brightness that felt warm but didn't burn, a white that wasn't absence but fullness. Light gathered into a presence before it gathered into a person. Love arrived first, thick as gravity, soft as breath, and then I saw him. He wasn't the stained glass man I'd seen in old church windows. He was astonishing and familiar, clothed in a radiance that came from within, not upon. His face, if I try to draw it with words, would be every good face I've ever trusted. His eyes held oceans without edges, and when they fell on me, all the small things I'd used to define myself disintegrated like ash and rain. He spoke my name, and my name sounded healed. "Lena, you are not what you feared. You are mine." I broke like thawed ice, words jammed behind my teeth, apologies, bargains, confessions, but all that came was a sob, the kind that empties a body and cleans a soul. I fell at his feet and gripped air and said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry," like it was a language. He knelt. His hand under my chin was strength without force. When he lifted my face, shame had nowhere to hide. But here, in the place where I expected judgment, I found a love so accurate it scared me in the best way. To be fully seen and not dismissed, there is nothing like it. "Walk with me," he said. It didn't play like a movie. It felt like stepping into rooms I'd lived in, air still fragranced with whatever happened there. I stood in my childhood kitchen, the laminate counter edge pressing my hip. Little me was crouched by the pantry, hiding food and hiding that she was hiding. I felt her panic, small, clenched, promising herself that control would make love arrive. My mother hummed in the next room, a hymn about mercy. My father entered like weather, patted my head absent-mindedly, and asked about homework without meeting my eyes. That small ache, the one that tells you you're interrupting, trembled in me again. "Where were you?" I whispered, instantly ashamed. "I was in the humming," he said. "I was the hand you wished would ruffle your hair and mean it. I was the ache itself, a signal that you were made for more than distance." Then my 20s opened, the boyfriend whose praise felt like a leash. I watched him squeeze my waist and say, "You're perfect when you're disciplined," and watched myself nod like a soldier receiving orders. I saw me standing in front of a mirror with a jaw clenched so tight it clicked, bargaining with my body. I heard the private vow, if I manage this, I'll be lovable. I wanted to step into the scene and hold that girl's face and tell her she's already held. He did it for me. He stepped into every memory like light under a door, and suddenly even the darkest rooms had edges. I saw my studio. The morning light sliced into neat rectangles on the floor. Students rolled out mats that smelled faintly of rubber and eucalyptus. I watched myself kneel beside a woman whose hands trembled, touch her shoulder, and say, "You're safe." I felt the sincerity of it and also the hypocrisy. I didn't believe that for me. "You did love well," he said, meeting my thought before I could flinch, "even when you didn't feel lovable." Then the ledger of my life flipped to pages I'd shoved into drawers. Envy like a fine fog I pretended was weather. Pride in my ability to hide pain and call it composure. Bitterness disguised as boundaries. The night I posted a picture of a forest and wrote a caption about finding peace, then stood in the bathroom whispering insults at my belly until my throat hurt. There were no justifications here. Not because he refused them, but because I no longer wanted them. Truth was cleaner than excuses. Lena? His voice was the softest I have ever heard it. Look at me. I did. He placed his hand over my heart, not on my skin, on the place in me that had always been braced for impact. Warmth spread, not heat, not adrenaline, like water into dry ground. I didn't feel brave. I felt unburdened. The static in my mind, the tallying, the comparisons, the relentless inner correcting went quiet as if someone had flicked a switch. For the first time in my life, I felt no guilt, no obsession, no shame, only acceptance, only a love so precise it made me laugh and cry at once. You are mine, he said again, like a seal pressed into wax. Come, he said, and the light unfolded into a series of living scenes. Scene 1, a bedroom lit only by a phone. Girls, hundreds, thousands, millions. Faces tipped into a glow that made their cheeks blue. Chains coiled from the screens, silver and pretty, tightening without pain at first, then bruising wrists. For some, the chains ended in mirrors that distorted, stretching waists, shaving thighs, enlarging eyes. For others, the chains were scales, needles, filters. I watched a girl scroll and scroll until her hunger looked righteous to her. I watched another whisper, I'm nothing, into a lens and collect hearts that couldn't hold her. They worship a false mirror, Jesus said, grief in his voice and also fire. They starve to be seen. They perform to be loved. Their bodies are not their prisons. These lies are. Scene 2. Cities trembled like bulls struck with a spoon. Skyscrapers swayed, markets tumbled, sirens layered until they braided into one long wail. Leaders stood at podiums with eyes that looked like they hadn't slept in weeks. Their words fell to the ground heavy and didn't rise. The towers of man will fall, he said, not gloating, not pleased, simply stating weather. What can be shaken will be shaken, so that what cannot be shaken may remain. I felt fear like cold water down my back. He touched my shoulder. Do not be afraid. I am not exposing to embarrass. I am revealing to heal. The shaking is mercy when it breaks what breaks my children. Scene 3. Living rooms, basements, porches. No fog machines, no stages. Just people. Young, old, tattooed, suited, weary, on knees. Some sang off key, some only wept. A boy in a hoodie lifted his palms and began to sing a song I knew no church had taught him. I watched neighbors knock on doors with casseroles and apologies. I watched fathers apologize to daughters, and daughters forgive fathers. I watched pixel chains fall like jewelry clasped open. My spirit will not be silenced. Jesus said, joy now, like spring. I will call them back. Revival will not trend. It will root. He turned to me. And you, use what tried to kill you to set captives free. My weakness? I asked. Your testimony, he answered. Everything in me wanted to stay. The peace, the love, the absence of that internal critic. The thought of returning to my old noise felt like volunteering to live inside a smoke alarm. Please, I whispered, don't send me back. I'll ruin it. I'll fail like before. He smiled with the kind of smile that turns terror into story. Lena, you failed at saving yourself. You will not fail at telling what I did. I'm not a preacher. I didn't ask you to perform, he said. I asked you to tell the truth. Tell the girls with the glow on their faces. Tell the mothers who hum prayers. Tell the fathers who don't know how to come close. Tell anyone who will listen, and even a few who won't. He stepped closer, forehead to mine, and for a second we breathed the same breath. You are free. Now set tables where others can taste freedom. Light shifted. Sound returned, the kind of sound that has edges, sirens, rubber, voices. I'll be with you, he said, and when he said it, the sentence didn't sound like comfort, it sounded like architecture. Air punched into me, not gently, like breaking the surface of a cold river. I coughed hard enough to hurt, and bright blue skies snapped into focus between faces hovering above me. A paramedic with freckles and severe ponytail leaned over, fingers against my neck. She's back, she shouted, and the jogger made a noise that was half laugh, half sob. The elderly neighbor kept saying, "Thank you, God," over and over like he was winding a clock. The car idled a few yards away, driver's hands still in their hair, shoulders shaking. The terrier licked my fingers like I owed him rent. "What's your name?" the paramedic asked, clipped, professional, urgently kind. "Lena." I rasped, my chest burned, my knee howled. "What day is it, Lena?" "Tuesday," I guessed, because I could still feel the Tuesday of heaven, timeless and perfectly right. "What happened?" The jogger asked. "Nobody. Everybody." I stared at the paramedic, and joy surged up through pain like a geyser. The first words that climbed out of me were the truest thing I will ever say. "Jesus touched me." The ponytail faltered, the jogger's mouth opened. The neighbor nodded like he'd been hoping to hear this his whole life. One of the EMTs, older, ring tan where a ring used to be, whispered, "I believe you." So softly I almost thought I hallucinated it. They loaded me into the ambulance. Fluorescent lights hummed. Gauze smelled clean. The world, which had once felt too bright, now looked exactly bright enough. Some transformations are fireworks. Mine was a controlled burn, the kind they use in forests to clear what will catch fire later. At home, I opened apps that had taught me to hate myself and watched my finger hover over the delete icon. Take, Lord, receive, I pressed it. Accounts gone like shed skins. In the bathroom, I touched the mirror and spoke out loud like I was introducing myself to someone I wanted to meet. "I'm Lena. I'm loved. I'm free." It felt ridiculous. It felt holy. I said it again until ridiculous turned into true. I called my mom. She answered on the second ring with a voice that could mend fabric. When I told her what happened, she didn't gasp. She cried quietly and said, "I knew he would keep you." And I realized all those years of humming were maps. Calling my dad was harder. Words clanked in my throat. I drove to his house instead, small, tidy, smelling like coffee and motor oil. We sat at the kitchen table with our elbows almost touching and looked at our hands. I told him I loved him, which felt like stepping off a cliff and realizing you can fly. He swallowed like something was stuck and said, "I didn't know how, kiddo." He put his palm on the table, open, uncertain. I put mine in it. We stayed like that until the coffee went cold. At the studio, I told my boss I needed a different kind of class on the schedule. "Faith and breath," I said, wincing at how earnest it sounded. No incense. No guru talk, just movement, scripture, and prayer. She blinked, then shrugged. "If students come, we keep it. If not, we don't." They came. Not a flood, but a steady trickle. Women with tired eyes and girls with beautiful haunted faces. We moved slowly. We breathed on purpose. We read that our bodies are temples, not projects. I told them about the false mirror. I told them about the hand on my heart that quieted a storm I thought was me. 2 girls stayed after the first week. Teenagers, eyeliner thick, sleeves long. They looked like they needed permission to exist. We sat on our mats and talked about counting almonds and counting likes and counting scars. I told them counting is a prison. "I met the one who already counted the hairs on your head," I said, and they laughed because it sounded old-fashioned, and then I watched the sentence find a place to live behind their eyes. On Sundays, I started showing up at the little church my mom attended. No lights but the sun, no worship team but a pianist and a woman who sang like she'd been forgiven much. The first time I shared my testimony, my hands shook so hard I had to rest the microphone against my lip to steady it. By the end, women were crying quietly and men were blinking like they had dust in their eyes. People came up after with stories that sounded like my own, saying in different keys. I began visiting recovery groups. I said the word Jesus out loud without apologizing for it. I watched women flinch at his name because it had been used like a weapon against them. And then I watched them soften as they realized I wasn't handing them doctrine. I was handing them a hand on a heart. I still have a body. It still takes up space. I still catch my reflection sometimes and feel the old tremor starting. When I do, I stand there until it passes. I put my palm on the glass and say, "You are not your body. You are not your shame. You are loved and you are free." Then I go make oatmeal and text my mom a photo of the sky. Don't wait. Don't assume you'll have more time to forgive yourself, to forgive them, to look up from the glow that keeps stealing your life. I thought I'd fix myself tomorrow, pray tomorrow, get healthy tomorrow, come to God when I was worthy. Tomorrow ended in the middle of an ordinary street with a yoga mat on the curb. Eternity is not a faraway thing. It is one breath thick, one heartbeat, and you will stand where I stood, face to face with the one who made you and never left. When you do, your followers won't matter. Your filters won't matter. Your curated calm won't matter. The only question will be the truest one. Did you know him? Not know about him. Know him. Did you let his love undo your chains? I met Jesus. He spoke my name. He touched my heart. And I came back to tell you the thing I wish someone had told me sooner. You are not your body. You are not your shame. You are loved and you are free. If you're breathing, it isn't too late. Call on his name, put down the false mirror, lift your face. He's closer than your next breath, and he has always, always been waiting for you.